many people are not sure how to go about writing and which publishing path to take. So this conversation remains relevant. Greetings, Apreneurs. Welcome to the Authorpreneur Secrets podcast, the show that uncovers the secrets to win with books beyond book sales and dominate authorpreneurship. Through exclusive author interviews, stories, and must-have resources, you will discover some of the secrets and strategies to thrive with books and generate lasting income. I invite you to become an Authorpreneur ambassador and join me in my mission to raise up 10,000 Caribbean authorpreneurs by 2030. Spread the word about the podcast and encourage more people to increase their impact and income with books beyond book sales. To get started, visit authorpreneursecrets.com/resources and download all the resources that you need to become a winning authorpreneur. Without further ado, let's get into the show. It's episode 117 of the Authorpreneur Secrets podcast. I'm your host, C. Ruth Taylor, and this is a show that gives you the roadmap to win with books beyond book sales and generate lasting income. In today's show, I'm going to be talking about traditional versus independent publishing or self-publishing. What are some of the advantages? Because there are still a number for aspiring authors who are unaware of the differences, and especially in the Caribbean, when we think of publishing, we only think of it in one way. And so we're going to explore that. So I'm going to be playing a chapter from this book, Penny to Win It. I'm going to be playing chapter 4, which talks about the old versus new publishing model. And I want to highlight just some of the differences and the advantages of going either way. And then I am going to be announcing on this episode a break. So for over 2 years in doing the podcast, I have not taken a break. Normally, if I'm going on a break, I would have episodes aired in advance and then play them. But I think I need to take a break, a summer break. So we should be back sometime in September with some new topics as we move towards Vision 2030. To see if we can get 10,000 published legacies. Let's have a word from our sponsor, Bamboo Sparks, and then get into the show.
Your book is the perfect spark to get the fire going in your personal life, career, business, or ministry. Light that book spark today with Bamboo Sparks, a global independent publishing services and publishing education and training business for transformation. Bamboo Sparks will take you from manuscript to market faster than you thought possible and even manage the process for you. Check out their 3 main offerings: the Self-Publishing Spark, the Rocket Writing Spark, and their Bamboo Sparks done-for-you management deals for authors in the Caribbean and the diaspora. Discover how Bamboo Sparks can help you to publish and leverage your book to grow 90 feet tall at bamboosparks.com, and that's bamboo with a U.
All right, so traditional versus independent publishing or self-publishing. For a long time, traditional publishing, for more than 100 years, was the way to go. And that involved getting an agent and submitting your work to a company, pitching it, and they would buy the book, so to speak, and buy your rights, your intellectual property rights. If I'm not getting it right, feel free to correct me. And sometimes they would want worldwide rights or rights to every version of the book, because each version of the book has a different set of rights that go with it, whether that's the ebook or the audio book version, the print version. Each version has a different set of rights. So it's the right to copy it and to leverage that, so to speak. Yeah. And sometimes even as independent authors, we're unaware. But in a nutshell, they would give you an advance sum of money And then there would also be a royalty share, whether that is 5% to 20%. And we know, as it relates to traditional publishing, one of the biggest publishing deals was with Michelle Obama. I think that was 65 million US dollars. Can you imagine becoming so valuable that your story is sold for $65 million? Wow. No, when you are publishing independently, as most persons in the Caribbean, we think of spending our own money to publish. Self-publishing, we are paying to get the services done. We are overseeing the process for ourselves. We have full control, whereas in traditional publishers, it would be the publishing company that has majority of the control. You would still be involved in the process, but they have the final say. And if you are a big name author like Michelle Obama, of course, a lot of the marketing machinery supportive of you and you get a big push. She still has to do marketing and appearances, but she already has a name and a platform. And so it is still a coveted position, whether you're getting $10,000 or $50,000 or $150,000 deal. It is good because the truth is 95% of independent authors who pay to publish, they don't make back their money. And what we learned too is that it wasn't all hunky-dory for all the authors who get traditional deals. Some authors really, they never out-earn the advance and they don't get a lot of help with marketing. And there are some authors who, when they take the traditional deals, they have regrets. And so what are some of the advantages or disadvantages in terms of paying to publish your book, your own money, and managing the process as an independent author, whether that is paying a company like a Bamboo Sparks to manage the process, or you are doing it yourself and you're finding the different publishing providers, the editors, the cover designers to help you, versus having a company give you an advance and then doing everything for you. What are some of the advantages and disadvantages? We're going to get into that a little bit right after Chapter 4, Old versus New Publishing Model. There's an African proverb which says, when the music changes, so does the dance. Many authors who have been published traditionally for many years are now going into indie publishing. According to the self-publishing show by Mark Dawson and James Blatch, indie publishing is a billion-dollar industry. This partially explains why some authors have abandoned the traditional industry, while others do hybrid publishing. They publish some books traditionally and self-publish others, and some only do indie publishing. In the publishing world, for centuries, traditional publishing was the only means to get your book published. In fact, today there still exists a stigma that if you self-publish, you are not a real author. Every week I listen to publishing podcasts such as the Self-Publishing Show and the Creative Pen podcast to enhance my understanding of the publishing industry. On those shows, I learned about several well-established authors like Christine Catherine Rush, Dean Wesley Smith, and Barry Hutchinson, who have gone into indie publishing. Some have almost given up on the traditional publishing industry. In brief, I will tell you 2 reasons for the switch. 1, control, and 2, bigger financial rewards. Traditional publishing usually involves submitting your work to an agent who secures a publishing deal for you, and the publisher usually gives an advance payment for the book prior to publication. They take care of the publishing and marketing to a certain degree, and later you may earn royalties. That is a percentage of profits after you out-earn the advance. In indie publishing, you work with a team of people who provide professional publishing services. You foot all the expenses and keep most, if not all, of the profits. The work is a lot harder for the author, but the rewards seem to be better. This, therefore, is the most exciting time in publishing history. We don't need to depend on the gatekeepers anymore. Indie publishing has become a respectable and viable way to publish books. And many indie authors are producing international best-selling books, and many are earning more than traditionally published authors. Control and financial gain. When you publish traditionally, the publisher may buy your book and intellectual property rights. This means if you want to do anything with your book, you need their permission. If you sold all your intellectual property rights, you can't use your book to market, create your own audio, sell movie rights, build a mailing list, and market your book your way. Technically, it's not yours anymore, based on my understanding, unless you buy back your rights, which will be quite costly. As an indie, you can decide what you want to do with your book. You own the copyright up to 70 or 90 years after your death. You decide how you want to treat your intellectual property rights. A book is an asset, just like a house. You can rent, lease, sell, bequeath, or convert it into many different things. The author of the book owns the copyright and has the power or authority to license the book for use in various forms to whomever. This is what we call intellectual property rights in layman's terms. No one but the author is allowed to use the property without permission, unless the author has sold those rights. With good marketing, and if you want to be in the book industry for the long haul, you can out-earn the average advance that a traditional publisher gives, usually $5,000 to $250,000 US, and more if you're famous or have a strong platform. The good news and the great thing is, as an indie, you can get up to 100% royalties from your book instead of 5 to 20%. You can use your book to create a business, collect email addresses, and build a mailing list. You can engage readers directly. These are things many traditionally published authors can't do or could not do in the past. They are limited in what they can do with their books. But as an indie, you have complete control over those factors. I prefer the indie publishing model. As an indie, you don't need anyone's approval or permission to do what you want with your book. This is a major reason why many traditionally published authors are now making the switch. This is why even authors who get six-figure traditional deals like Alexandra Torre and others now have regrets about taking traditional deals. But at that time, prior to 2008, traditional publishing was the only viable and respectable option. The challenges of going indie. The chances of majority Caribbean authors and authors in developing countries getting a traditional book deal is very slim. The most viable means of publishing will therefore be independent or self-publishing, but the costs involved and the learning curve can be prohibitive. This is why I wrote the book Authorpreneur Secrets and created the Authorpreneur Secrets Academy to teach Caribbean authors how to publish on a budget. I've also created the Authorpreneurship Starter Kit for nonfiction authors so they can get the guidance they need to write, publish, and profit from their books when publishing independently. Contact us at extramileja.com to learn more. Does this mean going the indie route is for everyone? Not necessarily. Going the indie route requires an entrepreneurial, adventure-like attitude, which means you're willing to take risks. You are willing to take the lead and do most of the work while managing the process. Unfortunately, not everyone likes that. Some people want the done-for-you service. They don't want a headache of marketing and distribution, of managing sales and creating multiple income streams. Those who want the done-for-you publishing offer can end up paying as much as $12,000 US just to publish a book. This is not something many Caribbean authors can afford. If you don't want to go the independent route, try finding a traditional deal, but be prepared for the long wait and rejections that often come with this process before getting a big break. It also depends on what success looks like for you. Success for you could simply mean publishing the book. If that's the case, be an indie. If success means simply being an Amazon bestseller, then being indie would be better for you. If success is making a living from writing and creating multiple income streams, being indie is the fastest way to do this. If success means getting a big literary award and being published by a major publisher, then find a traditional publisher. As an indie, you can always outsource the parts you don't like. This is why we distinguish it from self-publishing in the strictest sense, although it's a type of self-publishing because you are in charge, but working with others. Author service providers like EMI and others can help you get your book published affordably and guide you in the marketing process. You can hire a marketing manager and you can get others to help you to get your book into bookstores if you want. You can hire a social media manager or pay someone to create your Amazon or Facebook ads, among other granular aspects. Finally, you don't have to choose indie or traditional publishing. You can do both. Then you will be known as a hybrid author. If you have the time and the price and terms are right, go the traditional route, although it's longer and harder to get. If you want to be in control and don't mind learning the publishing process and working with others at various levels, go indie. The indie route always has ways to cut your publishing costs without compromising quality. Reflective questions. 1. Which publishing model are you in favor of and why? I invite you to listen to the audio or buy this book, Pen It to Win It, Going Beyond Book Sales. And I would encourage you to listen to it. It's free on YouTube, the audiobook. You have to buy the ebook or the paperback book. Many people are not sure how to go about writing and which publishing path to take. So this conversation remains relevant. And with that, just want to remind you, if you're a regular weekly listener, thank you for having been supportive and listening to the podcast week after week. I'm going on a break and catch you when I return to the podcast in September. So I am not quitting podcasting. I'm just taking a break. If you found this episode helpful or useful, share it with a friend. Let me know which publishing path you prefer and why. This is Ruth Taylor saying, go pen it to win it and dominate authorpreneurship. Ta for now, until next time.